guys, this is Darren with Unknown Comics Podcast. I'm here with Tanner and Chris. Brandon is MIA, playing off somewhere not cold.
He's in Colorado, so it's probably definitely cold.
Yeah, it's probably cold, I guess. All right, so he's somewhere cold. It is currently 16 degrees, but it looks like it should be about 70 degrees outside based on, the clear skies.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas. But there's no wind. No wind.
Thank the Lord. That's the worst part about the cold is the wind.
So, yeah. I mean, that's the only reason why I ever consider moving from here is because I hate the wind so much.
Mm-hmm. Wind chills are terrible.
But now that I don't own Amarillo Collections, a trash business, I don't mind. Like, the other day I was like, man, it looks awful outside. You know what I'm glad I don't have? A trash business.
Yeah. Don't have to be out there in the awful.
So, guys, as we're here, we are going to make this a short, brief podcast. As we are in the middle of construction and repainting and remodeling and people trying to kill themselves with falling slat wall. So we are going to keep this probably under 30 minutes so we can kind of get everything cleaned up, finished up, and kind of see where we're at. So not a normal hour and a half worth of banter, but I'm excited to be able to talk about WandaVision. We are going to talk about the firing of Gina from The Mandalorian, and we're going to talk about the effects of delayed books and comic books for shipping. So, Chris, what were your thoughts on WandaVision?
Well, I mean, we kind of known for a long time that Pietro was going to show up at the end of one of these episodes. It kind of came out that it was going to be this next one. So, I mean, we definitely saw that. Of course, that's a big spoiler, seeing Quicksilver from the X-Men universe come over into the MCU.
You just jumped right into that spoiler.
So, well, I mean, that's the biggest thing to talk about when we're talking about WandaVision. So, and then, of course, you see the kids aging. I mean, there's lots of different things going on in this episode. We're starting to see more and more that Wanda's not been able to control what's going on. It's just kind of overall kind of curious, if she is the only thing at play here or if there's something else. So
okay. So going into the Quicksilver thing, you've seen it, right, Tanner?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. So my thoughts on it, because she has a moment where their dog dies, Sparky, and she's explaining how the boys know her powers and know that she has the ability to bring Sparky back to life, and she takes this stand with them that she can't do that. And I almost wonder if she went out and subconsciously grabbed a different Quicksilver to keep her promise to her boys or keep the example she's trying to set. I know she brought Vision back, but this is after that moment.
So I have a theory about that too. What if she can't, in the movie universe anyway, bring organic things back to life? But since Vision is a robot,
she created boys from nothing.
yeah,
So she's already shown that she can create organic things. But my thing is, maybe that's how they explain the X-Men. And I don't know if it's explaining the X-Men as much as it is
just
leading into
the
Doctor
multiverse.
Strange for Multiverse.
Yeah.
That she went out and snatched a different universe Quicksilver
that was my theory as to who it was.
to keep her promise to her boys. So I still think it's the Fox Quicksilver. I still think everything about that is true. Mm-hmm. I just think that I don't know if it's going to play as much of a thing into the X-Men universe as they think.
Well, we'll probably see maybe the next episode, if he's, kind of what his character is starting to feel like and do. Is he going to start thinking hey, why am I here? Kind of like the same thing with Vision. Vision is basically computing. He's taking in all these things in his brain saying, okay, Wanda, I know you're responsible for everything. What are you doing? It's not right. He's starting to awaken people and, and of course having all this stuff happen in front of Agnes and she doesn't give two cares about anything.
Yeah.
She's also there.
Every time the boys age, she's there.
She's there when the boys are aging.
What if she is one of the villains, kind of poking Wanda, egging her along with this whole thing?
She could be. I mean, it's quite possible. There's lots of magic characters, and I don't see her playing a big MCU role. I don't see her being a big actress to be she can come out of this and be oh, here I am. I think this is her one and done, moment. I do think that there's probably some, and I love Marvel, and I'm not always familiar with all the Avengers stuff, but there's got to be someone who can, tempt or play off of emotions, or it could be Mephisto. Everybody
I've
thinks
seen a
it's
lot
Mephisto.
of Mephisto.
But I think Mephisto's a Doctor Strange movie kind of bad guy. I don't think you introduce.
Well, and you never know. I mean, with the way that they're trying to treat these shows, they're not treating them like TV shows. They're treating them like their movie material it's getting broke down
All in all, it's
in a longer time period.
about a 3.5 hour worth of movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it's 30-minute episodes, and
You know, they're still
with 9 hours.
they're
of
still
credits.
giving this stuff the same kind of budget. You know, I mean, they're treating this just like they would movies, except for it's coming out on Disney Plus. So I think that we may see quite a bit of big things happen in these shows, and that's going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we know that, but the way they're doing things, it's going to lead into Young Avengers.
I mean, think about what they did with Star Wars. I mean, bringing Luke Skywalker into a TV show.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a huge deal.
And here's another, they never really go into, Wanda and Petro's parents. What if her parent from her universe was actually Eric Lyncher?
Now, they did name them in this last episode.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first time they've ever given them names in the MCU.
Okay. Well, and it wasn't Eric.
No.
I just didn't catch that. So.
Now, it doesn't mean that they're the actual parents.
Yeah,
Because,
it could be
they died
adopted.
when they were so young. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, they could
that.
be. They could have been placed by if they want to introduce the High Evolutionary, or, I mean, there's all kinds of situations. But all I know is I'm excited about the next episode. I know that Marvel has a way of telling stories, and their storytelling is so unique to every different genre that they're doing. Excuse me.
Bless him.
Yeah, it's a lot of dust. So I'm excited to see where they go. I'm excited. I think who did they say that was going to be in the winter? Oh, Don Cheadle as War Machine will be in Bucky and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see him. We'll have a new, from what I understand, they for sure said that we'll be a new Captain America by the end of that TV show. Of course, we already know we're going to be seeing the U.S. agent. I mean, it's maybe be possible that we see, even Riri or something like that,
I think Riri's kind of like Miss Marvel. I think you just introduce her by herself, like you do, because Miss Marvel's TV show this year too.
Yeah, because I think we have
Because
Hawkeye, Loki, Miss Marvel, the What If series, Winter Soldier. I mean, there's a lot of shows coming out this year.
Because right now they're kind of leaning in towards the idea of the Champion series with some of the characters they're introducing with Miss Marvel and Riri, and then our Young Avengers with. I mean, we've already seen 3 out of 4 of the cast. We've seen 4 of the Young Avengers so far. So it'd be cool to see how they go. And now I've heard Michael Coulter, Luke Cage is looking to be brought back. There's Daredevil.
Here's what they're going to do. They're going to build up all these young Avengers. Then they're going to do Avengers Arena and kill them all.
Kill them all.
You know what?
If you've never seen Avengers Arena, one of the best stories Marvel's ever produced by Dennis Hopeless.
What's going to be frustrating about that whole Defender series is if they bring all those actors back, except for the guy that played
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
And see, I liked him. It was my second favorite show out of all of those Netflix shows.
And I really hope they don't do that. I hope that they bring him back. They did have a 3rd season all the way planned out.
And he was saying what the 3rd series was. I mean, the end of the 2nd season
really
had me
got your
so
hopes up.
excited
Yeah.
because the show finally got away from this family drama and actually started turning into a different direction. And then, there's no more. He didn't get the 3rd season like everybody else. He didn't have the finality of, now it's over. It was just for Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And, everybody complained about it, but I really thought it was way better than Jessica Jones.
And it's the same
And
reason that people
1,000
complained about Doctor
times.
Strange,
Yeah, because people couldn't accept that, a white person was portraying someone that knew martial arts. But the problem with that is it was comic accurate.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand why people get so, it's like the ancient one. I don't care. As long as it's a good actor, I don't care what race, what gender. I don't care about any of that. I just want a good story. And people just need to get over, if the comics are trying to be accurate, then let them be accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's, for certain reasons to change things, like if it was written and it was definitely written in a bad form or fashion. But if it wasn't, I mean, the guy, he's an American kid that, crash landed over there, learned this stuff, came back. I mean, so the character himself completely makes sense for who the actor was. So
Right. Well, moving on from Scarlet Witch, I mean, we have a new episode tomorrow. I just found out. So the first episode of Scarlet Witch came out while I was going down to the Brooks signing. And then I found out the first episode of Winter Soldier Falcon comes out while I'm on the road to go do the Hickman signing. So I'll have to watch them as soon as I get home.
Yep.
So
I'll have to watch this episode from this week. at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe we're at lunch tomorrow driving around.
I typically watch the episodes the next day anyways, because my kids typically are rowdy towards bedtime, and I don't want to watch it after bedtime. But moving on to the firing of Gina, blah, 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 from The Mandalorian. Where do we stand on that? I have my opinion. You guys have your opinion. But let's Tanner, what do you think? Remember, we're being watched.
Yeah,
Don't go
we're
too
being
opinionated.
I don't think that you should be fired for something you say in your personal time.
Okay.
So long as you're not out there making threats against somebody.
I think it's hard because basically, if it wasn't for social media, she never would have been fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the fact that people were basically forcing the hand of the media company to do it. You know? And again, no way saying whatever she said was right.
Yes, the opinions,
or anything like that.
The opinions of the
we're just talking about
people
the
we
actual
were talking about does not reflect the opinions
way
of
of being fired. Same thing with James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn getting fired from Guardians for something he posted 10 years ago.
Yeah, more than a decade. Now this is of course a more relevant message that she said, but at the same time, it's just I don't think it's right for that to have happened as far as being fired over something you said.
Well, and there was a country music guy this last weekend. He came out and he said a racial slur while being drunk outside of his own home. And immediately, the record label cut him or suspended his contract, and all the radio stations quit playing his music. And all that did was people showed that maybe people are too sensitive because his record sales are through the roof right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this whole cancel culture, and that's really what it comes down to.
That's what it is.
Is so out of hand. It's a mob mentality.
Yeah.
And it's just, in my opinion, where I stand, I realize that the things that come from your mouth are going to have consequences. Everything you say is going to come from your but there has to be a point, because it's saying, putting a sports person on a pedestal and saying, well, you screwed up and my kid looks up to you. Well, that's your fault, not the sports player's fault.
Well, there was a whole commercial not that long ago with Samuel L. Jackson. He's in his convenience store, and everyone's yelling at him because he's the reason that their kids say mother effer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it the right way.
So, and then he's like, well, that's not my fault. You're the one that lets them watch it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And when it comes to social media in particular, I think just humanity as a whole needs to show more grace with each other.
Yeah, grace is one of the things that we just can't have. And it's everybody messes up. And for a sports person, it's easier for redemption. I get suspended for a year. I come down and I get a couple touchdowns. I win you a championship. Oh Lord, you've forgiven me. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah, she's most likely blacklisted now.
Yeah, she'll never get a major gig again because her views don't represent what Hollywood wants them to represent.
And I think that's the bigger issue here, right? The fact that the censorship isn't coming from what you say as far as you saying something. It's about what you're believing and what you're saying, right? It's not exactly what we believe.
So get out. Yeah. You're not towing the company line.
At this point, it's no longer about speech. It's about censorship. I think that's the issue.
Well, and it's a shame because we just went through a year-long devastating political view of things where, every social media platform was trying to control the narrative.
Yeah.
And here we are again. And again, I don't know the full depth of everything she said. I read some of it. I know her comparisons were a little off, but I've seen other people make comparisons that were just as off, and they didn't get fired.
The vast majority of the media, both entertainment and news, needs to read an actual history book.
Well,
but aside from that,
a conversation in our own store just 3 days ago was the conversation about the younger generations not wanting to talk about World War II or the Holocaust and all that stuff, and because it hurts their feelings.
There's a show on Amazon Prime that kind of talks about this. It's completely escaping me right now, but it's basically the Nazis won World War II, But
Man in the High Castle.
yeah, Man in the High Castle. But they basically have like this videos that actually show the Nazis losing, but the history was shown to say this is what actually happened. So they literally just changed history,
Right.
and people were like just started believing that.
And
So,
again,
I mean, it's just crazy.
to our 17 viewers that are going to watch this, whether you agree or disagree, remember these are opinions. These are opinion based.
Yeah.
They're not facts. Nothing in the social. I mean, we just are just saying how we feel. She shouldn't have been fired.
I think that's the biggest thing here. It's like,
She was a strong female lead character that which it's what everybody's trying to push right now, anyways. And you moved on
apparently-
for having an opinion.
Well,
This-
and regardless of which side you are on, the way to persuade someone else to your side is not to push them out and condemn them and all that. It's to welcome them.
Right,
Let
I
them
mean-
in and show them, with good intentions, show them your
it's
view.
no longer okay to have a conversation with anymore or a debate. If you're wrong, and you're no longer allowed.
And this is the same thing with comics. Comics are very much so this is a comic book related conversation because it doesn't just hit movies and theaters. There's a lot of censorship in comics. It's the way bodies can be designed, the narrative of the way a comic book moves. There's a lot of implications of agendas being told. I mean, there was a slur again, like a Jewish negative slur in the new Hulk 43 from last week, and everybody lost their mind and wanted people to be fired. It's like what happened to that artist in X-Men Gold who put a Jewish. It wasn't a good Jewish thing.
No, yeah, no.
And he got fired, but he got his job back after everything cooled down.
Yeah. No, I will say that like sneaking in hate speech and stuff like that is a little bit different than, than what
absolutely.
we're talking about here, which is what this guy did. I mean, he basically hates the Jewish people and snuck in hate speech into a full blown comic there.
And
so.
and a lot of it had to do with one of the main characters of that book was a Jewish character.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. There should always be like you should always think about what you do before you say it. But you shouldn't have to live your life in fear of if I say this and this is how I honestly believe, I'm going to lose my job and probably every future job I'm ever going to have because I had an opinion today.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
The consequences at that point outweigh the action.
Correct. It's over punishment because of a disagreement. And I hope she gets work. I don't think she deserved to be fired. I mean,
From what I understand, the Disney Plus back, we talked about the Disney Plus big thing, and they launched the new TV show called The Rangers, the Republic of what all that kind of stuff. That was supposed to be announced as being her lead role, but because of some comments I guess she had made in November, that kept Disney from doing that. So they've been looking for a reason apparently to do this.
yeah, but I've seen all of these actors trash political stuff for like months and months and months. It just,
Well, it's trendy if you do it from one side.
I know, it's just stupid. I mean, the whole political like separation between everybody is the same thing as like what's wrong with formal religion today. It's all designed to divide us, And religion, I believe, I'm a believer, but I've never believed in religion. I've always believed that religion is a separation of the whole body.
That's our new cup right
Yeah,
there.
that's our new cup.
Yeah.
See,
Got a
durable.
logo on it.
And I believe that politics are the same way. Politics are set to divide us, not unite us. And then there needs to be some kind of way to bring unity to the political scene because, I mean, half the people that are hateful don't even know why they're hateful. They're just hateful because their parents are. Well, my parents were this or my parents were that. And so I'm going to vote down the line. And just, if whatever political view you look at, if it doesn't stem from love, like love your neighbor, it's probably the wrong one. So, just my opinion, but I hate seeing this, and I hate reading about it, and I hate that it's not fair both ways. If it was both sides being condemned and consequences, then okay, at least it's fair. But it's not a fair table. So, talking about that, moving on to the next subject.
Something else that's not fair.
Yeah, delayed books and comics. So all of the publishers took months and months off, okay? during the COVID time, I mean, Marvel essentially took 3.5 months off. DC took about 7 weeks off, 6 weeks. Dark Horse still isn't working, I don't think.
We just started getting, like this week, that book you talked to me about. That's
That's the first books they've released in a long time.
Yeah, it's a big Dark Horse book that just kind of came out.
There were a bunch of Dark Horse books in the last preview.
Yeah, they're starting to finally get ramping it up. Whereas Aftershock's still like 2 to 3 books a week maybe.
We have every single week right now since January 1st, and that's with publishing taking off 2 weeks during December as well. Like we've had at least 10 to 15 books every single week. It move at least 1 week. A lot of them have moved over a month.
Yeah, if you're a regular customer, you get our emails. You've been seeing our weekly updates,
and it's ridiculous. And how, like, I don't understand. Like, one of the books that has moved is now on its 5th move. Nonstop Spider-Man #1. Like, it was originally supposed to come out in June of last year, and then they reset it for January, and then it moved to March, and now it's moved again. It's still inside of March, but it's still moved again.
Yeah, it's March 10th now.
Like, you've had a year. Come on. There's no reason why this book, like, you should have issue 12 done.
At a certain point, like, reorganize your priorities and start cutting books if you can't get them out on time.
And some of that they have done. I mean, eventually, like at first, Marvel was like, "We'll never put these books in print," and they actually released a lot of stuff on digital.
Well, it's because people fought back.
They came back and did print some of those books.
Yeah.
So,
and then
it's DC straight up just stuck
just
stuff
canceled.
And they never either canceled lines altogether or they did go digital and never put it in print.
Because
DC's going through some stuff anyway.
Yeah. Children of the Atom's another book that it was originally slated for 4/15. As of right now, it's looking like it's going to come out on 3/22.
March
3/20th.
It's on this week's FOC.
Yeah, this week's FOC.
Yeah, whatever this week's FOC is, 3/10 then.
Yeah,
it's a 3/10. So that is 1 month shy of a year late. A year.
Yep.
And that book has moved. They were supposed to come out in January too, and I don't know if they're like trying to repeat. Like, so everything going on right now, like I have this like weird, like icky feeling, I guess you can say it is. Like all of a sudden there's a new female character that Art Germ's drawing the first appearance for in May, which was the exact time that the punchline last year happened. Now all these books that were delayed last year are coming up on the same month that printing shut down this year. Or this last year. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we bound to repeat last year all over again? And I'm sure hoping not, because I don't want to go through all that again. And I just want books to quit being delayed because customers themselves don't understand the delays. They just get mad at us. They're like, well, why don't you ship my order? Well, you only paid one shipping price.
Yeah.
Or you got free shipping.
Really, it's like I just physically can't ship your order because it's not all here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of impossible.
But it's someone
ship you some peanuts.
You need to start giving people like Marvel's customer service line. Call these people and yell at them.
Right. Well, it's not.
Like, there's nobody there.
And most people want to immediately blame Diamond, but this has nothing to do with Diamond. Like this is zero to do with Diamond. This is 100% on the publishers.
I would actually say, I mean, overall, we really haven't had many issues with Diamond over the last year.
Diamond's been much better coming out of the COVID situation. Now their customer service sucks. Like having to do this whole ticket email thing is ridiculous. And
coming from being, and for the most part, we still do have a dedicated representative at Diamond, and most places don't. But
I couldn't imagine.
It's kind of a terrible thing.
When was the last time we talked on the phone to somebody from Diamond?
I've tried. It's pretty near impossible. And that's because again, most of these guys, those people are still actually working from home.
Yeah, I think I talked to all my other reps are working from home
customer
too.
Service, yeah.
I mean, my Southern Hobby rep, he works from home and he answers my phone every time I call him.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's like their main point of contact there.
Well, no, actually, they prefer emails, but
what I'm trying to say, when you go through Diamond, you order through their website.
Yeah.
You're not using a sales rep.
Right.
So
well, it's. So if you're watching, again, our topics are WandaVision, great. It's getting much better. It's definitely picked up.
We can actually talk about Winter Soldier and Falcon. Super Bowl actually had a full-blown commercial.
Oh, Lord, it was so cool.
We got to see a lot more action. That little end scene, right, when he's like, man, that girl kicked you,
Right,
so,
as he flies under the semi.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
Looks like a movie.
Really, really cool. I'm really excited to see that. That looks like it's going to be great.
I feel like we see the Falcon always in action, and Bucky just kind of running with him. Like
The staring contest though at the end was like the best part of that thing. And like,
well, did you saw that was the commercial that had like the group therapy in it, right?
yeah,
Like,
like you
what
guys
else?
are you having a staring contest? Just blink. How old are you? And then I think somebody put a meme of Bucky saying something smart aleck there, but
Now, to go back on another meme, did y'all see the meme that had Vision staring at his computer from the last episode?
Yeah.
And it
Am I-
had,
am
"Are
I a
you a
robot?"
robot?"
Little-
And he's like,
this is where recaptures.
just like looking like he's perplexed about how to answer that.
Yeah, and then there was another one that said, "Who's getting therapy?" And it was Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then it said, "Who needs therapy?" And it was Wanda. Like, kind of just like, yeah, we got that one mixed up.
Well, I still think that everything about the WandaVision is Wanda coping with the loss of Vision. And she's losing control because people are trying to break in, and she can't control everybody. I mean,
And I think
she was already struggling.
We're seeing it's not just Vision that she's having an issue with. I think finally we're seeing that she's still not even really over Pietro dying, right?
No, I mean, she's
So-
gone into one, like, her whole life has been nothing but, like, her parents died from a shelling, from a war, and then her brother dies to Ultron.
That's what
And-
makes superheroes, though. Your family dies.
Yeah, but then she loses her brother. Then she has to watch Vision die, and then what's really dramatic about that is, I mean, imagine the passion she had, because as soon as Vision dies, she was snapped away. She immediately goes into battle with Thanos.
Well, not only that,
Like
she
that's how she comes back.
before Vision dies, you got to remember she kills Vision.
Yeah,
He reverses time,
yeah.
kills him again.
So she has to watch it twice.
You
So
know?
she watches Vision die twice. And how powerful was she to begin with that she held back Thanos while destroying a stone?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how powerful she is. And then, like, she comes back, and people forget she also had to deal with Tony dying. Tony's dead too.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was kind of one of the ones that brought her into the Avengers. That was, I mean, she'd been working with Tony. I mean, wasn't she Team Tony? Or was she was, her and Vision sided with Iron Man during the Civil War.
They were on opposites. They were opposites.
Yeah, she was with.
She was with
Vision
Cap.
with
She was
Iron
Cap?
Man.
Okay.
Yeah, she was Team Cap.
Okay. I knew one of them. It just, there's so much about what's going on. I mean, Captain America's gone now, and then she just leaves, and, you know, and then you see that she walks into the facility and finds Vision all dissected over a table. I mean, one, why are they still working on him? He's 5 years old at this point. You'd think that they'd had everything from him that they needed, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's just so much layers to, like, the emotional stress that she's going through.
It's gonna be interesting to see when it's all laid out. I think we're on episode 5, and I think it's 9 episodes.
Yeah, so we're
There are
down
4
to
episodes left.
Have y'all seen the theory that the entire MCU is an alternate reality spun off of Endgame? Because you see, apparently, there's old Cap cameos throughout several of the movies.
Where he would have been with Peggy Carter.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that him going back in time is part of the same reality he's in, because you never see her husband until
Oh yeah.
you never see who she was married to. You never see pictures.
The one scene that I remember specifically, someone pointed out, was old Steve was one of the pallbearers for.
Peggy's funeral.
Was it Peggy's?
Yeah, it was Peggy's
okay.
funeral. I think that, you know, in my opinion, Cap's always been there. He's probably one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D. for all we know. And you just never see it because he's like that little ghost in the background.
I think what kind of got me about seeing old Cap in Endgame is like, he wouldn't have really. I don't think he would have looked that old.
No, he aged way too quickly.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
he-
I know he, but I mean, I know, like I said, it would have been a long time. He would have been, you know, over almost 100 years away then. But
Now, that was a story in the comics, though.
Yeah.
The serum wore off, and he aged according to his age, and
Pretty
he just got
rapidly.
really old real fast. And then they figured out a way to reverse it. So
yeah, I kind of remember that.
I think
That
they
was
could.
the first arc in Marvel now, wasn't it?
I think so.
He
I
was
think
kinda,
so.
That was like right before the Tesseract girl, right?
That was right before the Secret Wars that we did all Secret
Yeah,
Empire.
Wars. Yeah, that's the Tesseract kid. Yeah.
So, but I also seen a lot of rumors. I don't know if we talked about this
Hydra
last
Cap.
week, but during all this multiverse stuff that Chris Evans like has been taught, like what they're bringing him back for is nothing what we thought. It's the Human Torch.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that would be nuts.
Yeah.
If they tie all of the Fox stuff back together somehow, maybe they can fix the Fantastic Four by not using those same guys. I need different. Like I need Jim from The Office.
I think
and
the
need his
Fantastic
wife.
Four should be completely new cast for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I could see. I mean, even with the mutants now, we've already seen Evan Peters come over, but I think a lot of the mutants
have
probably
to
going to be recast as well.
You have to recast them because, I mean, sure. I mean, I would 100% agree with bringing James McAvoy and what's his face back as Magneto,
Michael Fassbender.
Matt Fassbender. I'm 100% for this.
But we might be seeing him as Doom,
Yeah,
which I think he would do that role as well.
that's a masked character though. He could do two characters at that point.
I would say Hugh Jackman's probably the only mutant I would want carried over.
But
just getting old.
he's too old.
Yeah,
Like
I saw today people were trying to get Lucy Lawless to replace Cara Dune. I was like,
I saw that. No. Like, don't replace her. Just find a new character to work around.
Xena Warrior Princess in Space.
And I think
It's a big universe. You
You
don't have to
actually announce the show as her show. I mean, she is in the show, right? But she wasn't like the biggest role.
I would much
So
rather
I really
see
think you can just kind of do whatever you want with
Yeah.
that
I'd
show.
much rather see a new character than a recast.
Yeah.
And
for
to
sure.
me, I liked her character in The Mandalorian, but she was, out of all the characters introduced, she was my least favorite.
Yeah.
Like it just, she was like the weakest of the acting for sure. But like I said, I just don't think she deserved to lose her job. That's my only opinion. I just think that every time you say something, and again, Disney was already after her before all the show announcements, so whatever. But
No, more specifically, Lucasfilms.
yeah. But again, if you don't like our opinions, you can unsubscribe. But we would prefer you subscribe because opinions are what make us, who we are. And we don't want to upset anybody, but at the same time, I don't want to ever feel like I can't talk about what I want to talk about.
Well, I think it's okay to have conversation, and it should be to have good conversation.
So, but we're
We're at
approaching that
33 minutes.
33-minute mark. We wanted to keep it right around 30 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and log out. We'll have a lot more info next week. We'll have a lot more updates for the building. For all of our 17 subscribers,
We've got-
appreciate you watching.
I think the number has changed since last time you were making
17
a joke about
subscriber.
We're at like 367.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
No, I
only
mean, like
17 people watch our podcast.
his little joke was. I think you said 12 last time.
I was at 77 last time.
No.
I think maybe it was
I don't
a
remember.
lot
It was a
more, but
different
I'm down because you proved me like only 17 people have watched it. So I'm like 17.
We get a lot of listens though.
Yeah, audio.
Through like Spotify and stuff. People are listening. They're just not watching.
How many? More than 17?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So anyway, speaking of that, so if you want to find us on any kind of Audible source, of course we're on Audible, we're on Spotify, we're also on iTunes. If you want to find us on social media, at Unknown Comic Books, Instagram and Facebook.
You look
Twitter
at me like I need to do
At
better.
unknown_comics. Darren doesn't know what those things are. And then, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Like and subscribe. Share the video. Share the
Hit
podcast.
the bell so you get all the notifications.
Yeah, make
And
sure
we've-
you're getting when we're posting new stuff.
And just so you know, we have at least 3 guests lined up to tune in with us on future podcasts. So
Yep.
you're going to have to tune in to watch those.
And
'Cause,
they're actually cool people.
yeah, well, cooler
Like
than
we're
us.
not.
Shut up, Tanner.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but thank y'all very much for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.